Hello. Today's presentation is about the 90-98 Chicago Bulls. They and I will be focusing on Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was known as to be one of the greatest players of all time. He led his team to 6 world championships, and he couldn't have done it without his team. His team was an important aspect, an important part, but he had to be a toxic leader in order for him to become and his team to become that successful. A toxic leader is it's destructive, but it can have good outcomes as well. In that way, the way that Michael Jordan handled it is he would not care about what you think, what you do. He wanted you to win, and he wanted you to be a winner. And he wouldn't make you do anything that he wouldn't do. He would do everything you would do, but harder. And he would make you work just as hard as he would, because he wanted to bring you to be a winner as well, just like him. He would manipulate his players to be good by telling them that, oh, they suck, they're not good enough, they will never be good enough. He would just use all these words and all these adjectives to describe their players and saying how they're not good enough, how they'll never be good enough, how they need to keep on working harder. And he was never okay with just mediocre. He would always make people work harder. He had a bit of selfish. He was kind of selfish. He was worried about his goals and what he wanted to do. The reason why he was selfish, though, is he wasn't just selfish for him. He was selfish for his teammates. He wanted to win, and everybody else did too. But he would have to do some very destructive things to help bring that along and kind of motivate people to work harder. And he would do that behind the scenes and at practice, but he would never really do that out into the real world, because he had to have this connotation around him that he was this great guy, and but everybody liked him, and be like Mike. So he had to do this behind closed doors in order to lead his team to those 6 championships. And there was this one time that Michael Jordan even made somebody leave the gym because of the way that he was not good enough. What Michael Jordan thought was that he was not good enough. So he's going to either make him work hard until he gets good enough the way he wants him to be, or he's going to make him leave the gym and work so hard to where he wants to leave the gym. And that's just the way he was, and that's his championship mentality, and that's how he led his team and himself and the management and the whole organization into those championships. And I think that's why Michael Jordan is a perfect part and a perfect leader, but he was very destructive. All right, now I will be letting Carry On do his part of the presentation.
How you doing? I will be doing my section on introducing the leadership of Scottie Pippen. And when we finish uploading the thing, you can kind of go through the slides and kind of read with it, because that's exactly what I'll do on the slide. So just gonna kind of dive into it. But very much like the 1990 Bulls group, the arrangement is about Michael Jordan as it should be. In any case, probably the most intriguing storylines have been based on the supporting cast, which involved the absolute most dominant groups in the NBA history. Dennis Rodman, Steve Kerr, and Coach Phil Jackson all had influence in solidifying Michael Jordan's inheritance as the best ever. And then there's Scottie Pippen, broadly viewed as Jordan number 2. At that point, when Pippen joined the NBA in 1987, he was 2 meters tall, 102 kilogram, little forward with amazing physicality and watchman ability. At the point when he and Jordan were both on the court, Jordan had the group's best early offense pair. The two of them could spill, pass, shoot, and every once in a while dunk over a 7-footer's head. Despite the fact that Pippen was never named the Defensive Player of the Year, nor Tim Duncan, he was the standout amongst other border safeguards in NBA history. Pippen could cover for situations on the court without permitting jumbles, except if they was confronting beasts like Karl Malone or Charles Barkley and as such. It was difficult to deceive him with the counterfeit moves, and you generally expect to pay someone's mind to Pippen 2.2 meter long wingspan. He arrived at the midpoint of 2.0 takes per game in his profession and has six 2+ steal seasons. And I'm gonna kind of dive in an ability that, he was never really selfish for anything. Jordan called him selfish for taking steps to separate the title list. The Bulls didn't trade him, and they wound up winning 6 rings. However, he is the, number 2, I guess you should say. But yeah, alternative Northern players additionally invest a ton of energy with the ball as they thought to. That implies less hostile freedom for the job players like Pippen. Michael Jordan is quite possibly the most intensely used part of Allied history. He drove the NBA in use rate, which level of group assets finished with the ball in his hands in 5 of the Bulls' 6 title seasons. Regardless of playing a lot of professions without the ball, Pippen actually found a middle value of near 20 focuses per game with the Bulls and was 7-time All-Star. Back in an interview that Dan Schwabel conducted, and Scottie asked him some vital questions about leadership with the Bulls. Dan Schwabel asked Pippen, what team leadership lesson did you learn from the time on the Chicago Bulls from Michael Jordan and Phil Jackson? Scottie responded with, playing with Michael Jordan and Phil were once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, but all of the success that we achieved was because we came together and thrived as a cohesive unit, one that was the same page and working towards that ultimate goal. Michael and I set the standard for what we expected for ourselves and our teammates. Part of that was simply leading by example. I also made a point of trying to be the best communicator as I could be. And that's the end of my section. I will be now presenting it over to Makai so he can kind of elaborate about the organization as a whole. Thank you.
Good afternoon, my name is Makai Robeson. I'll be presenting the franchise as a whole, the Chicago Bulls franchise as a whole. Okay, so a lot of people understand how important the players are and the team is to a franchise, but I'm gonna dig into the behind the scenes and things that went on within the franchise during the Michael Jordan's career. In the beginning, the franchise did an okay job bringing Michael in. However, they were so used to just passing over, just being mediocre. And because Michael Jordan was such a winner, he was able to establish a winning attitude to the franchise and install a winning tradition. Through that, he had many obstacles between Michael and the team, Michael and the franchise, due to their satisfaction level being so low and his being so high. He was trying to bring them up as the leader he is, in order for them to surpass and do more and reach heights they never reached before. Therefore, during Mike's beginning years, they had a couple problems dealing with Michael becoming a star and bring the Bulls franchise up at the same time. Now, as Michael was winning the games, playing, doing his thing, behind the scenes, the manager, the GM, Jerry Cross, did a great job of building and bringing players in to support him and bring players in like Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant and many other role players that could help him achieve the goals they had set. In the beginning, as the Bulls franchise was rising, everything was good. Everything was on the up and up. More players coming in, more W's, more going deeper into the playoffs. It really established the Bulls as a great franchise to belong to. However, with the great opportunities and all the great success that the Bulls were achieving, they began to run into a couple of problems and obstacles within the team and within the franchise, with the players and the teams being against the franchise and bumping heads in ways and disrespecting each other in ways they felt that they could not regain respect for one another. And the GM, Jerry Cross, did many things for the franchise and was able to help build the franchise up, as well as he had a hand in tearing the franchise down. He brought everyone in. He supported everyone. He brought camaraderie and really helped the team out to build into something big and something new. However, he believed that the team had reached heights in ways where he needed to grab other players and trade other players to reach an even better height. In some ways, people believe he was jealous of Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen in ways he wasn't getting the recognition for all the things he did behind the scenes. So the franchise really was on the up and up, but on the other side, they felt like the GM, Jerry Cross, felt like he was being left out. Therefore, it established a toxic relationship between the team and between the franchise and some of the players, because he began trying to trade players, not paying players like Scottie Pippen enough money, and just trying to put his foot in everything, trying to be bigger than what he was. Although he is the GM, he began to try to be more than what he was and try to build and establish something and then tear it back down because he wasn't being acknowledged. But over the years, it continuously got worse. And at the end, Jerry Cross had basically destroyed the team after firing Phil Jackson, someone Michael Jordan loved dearly, and said he wouldn't play for another coach. And with that, Jerry Cross just continued to tear down the team, and he believed that he could rebuild. But there's no other player like Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, so therefore the franchise had to go through a rebuilding stage.